Welcome to Tuesday Tips. Have you ever thought about how do you know when it's the right time to talk to your aging parents about what things are going on at home? Maybe they're having issues with driving. Maybe you're not quite sure things are as safe at home as they could be. Any one of a million things. For example, my mom's struggling with a BiPAP. It's brand new. And she told me yesterday, she says, forget it. I'm done. I can't work this. How do you navigate trying to help your aging parents or grandparents or an aging loved one, knowing that you're stepping on the toes of their independence and you dread having that conversation because you really feel deep down inside it's really not going to go that well? Well, tonight during Tuesday Tips, we're going to talk about that subject. When is the right time to step in? And we're going to talk about 11 signs that may indicate that your aging parents or aging loved one may need help in the home. And these are things that you can notice that might not be obvious. Some will be pretty subtle signs, but others aren't. But it's going to give you some hints and something to think about that maybe it's time you need to start thinking about having a conversation. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Just let you know right off the bat, I'm going to share 11 signs with you. This checklist is available for those that would like it, and we will put in the description. Those of you that are part of our forum on Tuesday's Tips, we are live in speaking out on the care of your aging parents, and you do have this checklist in the files tab in our forum. So you already have access to that. And those of you that are seeing this that may not and may want it, well, we're going to give you the link for that. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to look at is frequent falls. Have your aging parent or your aging loved one had any falls recently? Maybe 2-3 falls in the last 6 months. One fall is an accident, and falls are usually just that. They're an accident. It's not something that we plan on. Tripping hazards, things like that. But if you notice a pattern, this may be an indication that their balance is off. If their balance is off, do they have any kind of health challenges that are going on and may need to check out? We're going to go through this list pretty quickly, and I'm going to tell you how you can get more information later on. So the next thing is we're going to go into weight loss. Now, if you noticed any weight loss in the last 3 to 6 months, that, and you don't have to ask. I mean, sometimes when we ask direct questions, they can become accusatory, and your aging parents may take offense to that. So just have your eyes and ears and your nose, all your senses going. And if you see that their clothing are fitting a little bit looser than normal, maybe they're notching up the belt a little bit more or things like that. So just keep an eye out for some of those things that may indicate maybe they're having a weight loss, especially if they're not trying to lose weight. All right, number 3 is losing or misplacing things frequently. Now, I'm sure you've misplaced your keys. I've misplaced my keys. Give you an example. I lost a recipe card for 2 days, and I searched the house high and low. I was in the middle of making a recipe, and doggone it, it was stuck to the bottom of the sugar container, and my husband actually found it. So, things like that happen. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have dementia or there's, issues going on. What it does mean, though, is if for some reason they're missing their keys or their glasses and you're finding them in odd places like the underwear drawer or the freezer or out in, just somewhere that, would least be possible for them to store them in the microwave. And so these kind of things, that this might be an indication that there might be something more going on that needs looking after. So we're going to go on to the next one. So number 4 is isolation or seclusion from family or friends. Usually when things aren't going right at home, you may see them, maybe they stop going to church or they're not going as often. They're not seeing their friends anymore. Maybe it's the fact that their circle of friends is getting smaller because people in their circle have been passing away. But just look for signs of them not getting out or not having that social interaction. That could be signs of depression. It could be just that their social isolation is because maybe they don't have transportation, or they're afraid to drive, or any one of a million reasons that could not be anything serious, but it's it's something for us to keep an eye on so that we can make sure that they're doing well at home. So let's go on to number 5, and I'm just going to change my screen up here. Okay. So number 5 is not taking their medications correctly. And some people might be just taking their pills out of their pill bottles, on a daily basis, or how often they take them, or they could be have a pill caddy. Maybe you're over there and you notice, oh, today's Wednesday and Monday's gone, but Tuesday and Wednesday's still in the pill box. Again, looking at pill bottles that are still have pills in it and they should have been refilled, a month or two ago. These are kind of things that you can look and kind of seek out without causing, without coming right out and confronting them. And then if you see that there are some issues, you have some time to think about them and think about how you might want to approach having that conversation. So a lot of these things you can pick up without actually having, that, hey, mom, or hey, dad, I noticed this. So just keep your eyes and your ears and your nose open. All right. So we're going to go on the next one. House unkept, which is a change. I am not here to judge anybody on anybody's housekeeping skills, or everybody's house is kept the way that they want it to be kept. And what we're looking for is a change in what's normal for them. And, if they normally don't make their bed in the morning, well, obviously, if you go over there and their bed's not made, that's not an issue because that's normally how it's done. But if, for example, you go over there and, the dishes are full of sink and it smells of stale food, and you think they might have been there for a couple of days, and your mom is the most meticulous person in the world. She doesn't even let a dish sit in the sink. Well, that would be another story. So you want to watch for that. Poor hygiene or urine odors. As we age, unfortunately, it gets harder and harder sometimes for us to make it to the restroom. But that doesn't mean that this has to affect their independence. Sometimes if you notice some of these things and you notice, say, the urine odors, and think that they might be having some accidents, there's very delicate ways that this can be handled, and there's things that they can use so it doesn't hamper their independence. And sometimes people feel afraid or embarrassed to go out in public because they're having these issues. So we need to keep an eye out for that. One of the things that might be a little bit more serious is found the stove or the appliance left on. And again, I can't say I have an electric stove. I keep placemats, covering the stove for little decoration. I can't say that I've never burned one, but what we're looking for is what happens is that if they walk away with the stove is left on, they go away and they completely block it out. Like, for example, it took me all but 15 seconds to realize that I turned the wrong burner on and I was starting to burn the placemat that was on the stove. I'm talking about where they just forget and there's no process. They don't even remember they left the stove on. They're going about doing their work, and the next thing you know, the smoke alarm is going off. That's different. I mean, that's a whole nother issue with forgetfulness, and that could be actually quite dangerous. Another one, number 10, would be missing doctor's appointments. No matter what they do, they're writing it on the calendar, and, they're getting reminders. We have to be really careful. I mean, we live in a very digital society, and the clinics, I mean, they want you to go on My Chart, on your online patient portal. You can get reminders there. But, a lot of elderly people, they don't use technology. They don't use computers. They rely on the telephone or the mail. And so, if they're missing doctor's appointments, maybe it's just they need some other a reminder system. I'll give you an example. My mother-in-law argued with me that her appointment was at 1:00 one day, and I said it was at 3. And she says, no, look at my paper. Last time I was at the doctor, they printed off my paper. My paper says 3:00. And I said, well, Ma, I was in the My Chart. I was online, and it looks like they changed your appointment. Well, she had no idea because A, no one called her, and B, all she had was the paper summary sheet that she had. And so it's very difficult for, our elders, if they're not computer savvy, to stay on top of those things. So we have to find a way to be able to help our aging parents with that. So that's a good idea to have someone other than your parent be on that online portal so that you can help them keep up with the digital technology that the clinics and the hospitals are using. Um, Last but not least is number 11, missed bill payments. Say, for example, you go over to the house and there's a stack of bills, and you see, it's July and you see June bills there that are still haven't been paid. Well, we need to dig into that process a little bit more and see why the bills aren't getting paid. And we could spend a lot of time, on this subject. I wanted to give you just a little bit of an idea, and I'm just going to take this last minute here to let you know about, we do have a course that focuses on when is the right time to step in. We go over these 11 signs. We go into them a lot more deeper than we did here in just these few minutes, sharing more tips and strategies on how to handle those conversations and what to do for these. We also help you divide up the needs into 4 categories: home safety, health management, nutrition and hygiene, and managing the home. And then again, we take that one step further and we match up resources that you can use. Where do you start? What resources do you start with? How do you put a plan in place? This is our very, very entry level beginning course. It's self-directed. We have videos, audio, workbooks, worksheets, this checklist. We have all the tools that you need to do to begin to look at when is the right time and how do you begin to assist managing the care of your aging parents. We'll have all the information in the details. And for those of you in the forum, I'll go ahead and post that link to that course. We're very excited to be able to share this for you. It's very affordable. And so we just want to help all of you that are beginning that role of caring for your aging parents to have some tools to be able to help you navigate that with the knowledge to help them make some good decisions and good choices and keep them safe. So with that being said, we will see you back in the forum live next Tuesday, 7:15 Central Time, for more of Tuesday Tips. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.